Here I am again. Now with our next section will be actually this whole session will be in English, right? So the session is sustainable production and consumption, one of the main key themes of the SDGs. In this case, the SDG 12. This is what we are going to be talking about. Our first speaker is Pedro Ruffier, with a degree in marketing and administration. Pedro Ruffier is the founder of Infinito X and Movin in Brazil and also outside South America. Movin is the first brand to be a certified B Corporation and awarded Best for the World 2017 and Best for the World 2018 with the mission of accelerating the transition of a more ethical and technological fashion through the development and 3D phototyping, zero-waste technological fabrics, as well as the concept of total transparency in all the process of fashion, right? Of the clothing industry. Its costs, products, avoiding also thinking about avoiding fast fashion, avoiding those fashion that we use and have to throw away the same month sometimes, you know, or that lasts just 1 year. So let's first see Pedro speaking to us.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Planetiers, and everyone for your time. I would like to start from the beginning when I asked me one simple question, where I asked myself, what would be the meaning of my life and the meaning of my business? And I repeated 3 times the same question from me. And as a result, I got asked to be an advocate for change. And looking for this transition for a more conscious system and methodologies, I started my story. As the boat we saw in the clip would be hard, but I got to believe in my meaning of life. So I started with the industrial system where we live. We are talking about fashion and other segments and industry that we have the programmed obsolescence where we produce, use, and discard. And also this massive propaganda where we create not only an impulse structure, but a wasteful structure, not efficient, rather than a conscious structure of capitalism, for example. So looking forward to these details of my life, I started my first questioning of the fashion industry with Movin brand. Is the one that you're now seeing in the board. Because I questioned it, why should we use clothes that hurt ourselves by absorbing these chemicals that we use in the pesticides, hurting not only ourselves but the environment? So I started using organic cotton, recycled cotton, other developments such as the bacterial fabric as a substitute for leather, and also biodegradable fabrics. But also, one point that I thought important to bring is because the fashion industry is, it turns out to put everyone that makes part of the industry, the process, visible. So when you see a final product in the store, you just see that product, and you don't know what it's behind. So one thing that we thought of bringing is to put in evidence those that are reflected and invisible in the process. We are talking about empathy. So bringing also transparency and traceability to the market. And we thought that ethics should not be a norm of differentiation and communication, but an obligation. The corporation defends this a lot, that we should bring ethics as part of our social statute of the company. as a force for good and for change. And I believe, as myself, that market advantage should be of continuous innovation, restless in search of these efficient systems in reducing impacts and becoming more efficient, and technology as a tool for accelerating this change. And questioning again about the market, I started to create new businesses where I started questioning the cosmetics industry, where I created the Tropic Cosmetics, because also I questioned, why should we use chemical cosmetics in this industrial manner when we have the biggest natural pharmacy, such as the Amazon, right by our side, where we can preserve our culture, because every minute we lose a culture in the world. Why not preserve it and work with the ingredients that preserve the forest, not kill it? So one thing that Nora puts well is that we should not only be talking about sustainability, because we need, as a more important point, is to regenerate our system. It's regeneration, restoration. But I also kept questioning myself of the why I was doing that. So one thing that I also thought of bringing for change is to launch an initiative that is a spin-off from Movin, that is called We Loop, where we wouldn't depend on new products consuming energy, raw materials, and making more impact. But why can't we buy, rent, and swap second-hand clothing? Because 50 to 80% of what we have in our wardrobe is not being used. And also, how could we grow the use of our clothing by offering services such as clothes repair, laundry, recycling, all these we bring for customers and users. And these relations between people, like neighbors, for example, in Europe is very common, in Brazil is very common, for people to know how to save and repair. Why not talk to a neighbor that maybe may know how to repair? So we will be stimulating the local economy, growing the local economy. So all these initiatives I brought with the simple question I made: why? Why was my reason of existing as a person, as a business, to bring solutions to the world? So as a feedback here, I would like to say that we need to serve as an antidote to the excess of society, where we have an excess of products, of consumption, and we should look as an antidote for that. And the idea is to start with this simple question, and I suggest you to make it 3 times. Why is the reason of my existence? Not only myself, but my business. And question yourself of the traditional structure that we live in that needs innovation, and not sustainability ethics as the main communication differentiation, but innovating. And we also call it here, always in my business, about let's stay and keep always better, to look forward to new solutions and more innovation to accelerate the transition for this more conscious society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pedro. It's great that we see that people really care about, how bad can be an industry like the fashion industry. They can care about, stopping, halting, absolutely children's labor, which is really true in the case of the fashion industry. We also the way they are predatory in order to use natural resources, like if they were infinite, in order to produce our clothing, not only clothing but also the products that we use, right? The ones that you showed. Thank you so much, Pedro. And now we're gonna listen to Nora Gherbi. She's a writer, a speaker, and founder of Who Cares? Chronicles, an initiative focused on promoting good leadership practice in the corporate world, based on empathy and compassion, with aims to serve executives who seek to create, like Pedro, who seek to create and apply a sustainable and meaningful strategy for their business. They're growing number, those corporate executives, thank God. She's also a member of the advisory board of several non-profit organizations and technology and fashion companies, and is the ambassador of Nexus in France. The production and sustainable consumption and the creation of a relevant brand are the motto of her talk. Let's watch her.
Hi. Hi, can you hear me well?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
So
Welcome.
first I'd like to say mucho obrigado for receiving me, Karla.
Thank you.
And to the audience that I cannot see, but thank you for having me. I would like to just first just share briefly what Who Cares is about. 2007, 2008. At the time, my office was in New York, right across the street from Lehman Brothers, and I realized that the work that I was doing on the side, the philanthropic work that I was doing on the side, had to be incorporated into businesses. And this is how Who Cares was started. Fast forward 14 years later, we're a full-blown organization. We provide different kinds of content. We create content on different topics. And the role of Who Cares really is to inspire, and also to provide opportunities for executives to find great practices that they can easily replicate within their business. What happened is that with fashion, we realized that, as you said, Karla, and as you said, Pedro, the fashion industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. And it is obviously very important for this industry to change dramatically. And in order to do that, we wanted to contribute. We created this campaign called Dress Like You Care. It's based from a manifesto with 10 easy points that people can reproduce. Because a lot of the times we meet people in conferences or when we do master classes or workshops, and people say, I really want to help, or I really want to have a different behavior with my consumption, my executive leadership, but how do I do that? So I'm a firm believer that we have to give people easy tips for them to create something around them that makes sense. And this is how we decided to expand the Dress Like You Care campaign and build a guide, which is called the Dress Like You Care Guide. And it has 2 volumes. The first volume is for the industry, and it provides great practices that can be duplicated, as well as new technologies that are also helping the industry completely change for the better. And also the volume 2 is more for the consumers, and it provides a list of stores, of brands, and also places where they can actually repair their clothing. And this is really what we're about to launch in November 2nd. This is when the guide will be launched. It has been with several partners that we have in all over the world, from CFS Lab Laco to Change Now Summit, to 5 Étoiles Producteurs, which is a digital agency. So it's a real big collective effort with Global Fashion Exchange as well in New York. And we're very excited to also provide information that will help communities and industries utilize that a movement. There is quite a bit of them who are really coming together to create solutions at a completely new fashion environment. And I hope that you will be able to read. It will be on our for. And I hope that all the readers and attendees of Planeteer will be able to read it and be inspired by it.
Final message for the people that want to join your efforts and your motto and your motivation.
Sorry?
You didn't hear me, right? Okay, we're out of time.
I didn't
We're
hear
out
you.
of time
Sorry.
anyway. I'm so glad you joined us, and thank you so much for presenting your work. I'm sure that it's an example for many others that want to go through this path, and it's a growing path, but we need more. We need them all, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, participants. Thank you, speakers. And we're finalizing this session. Thank you.